There were three basic things that Jerome Powell said today during his Federal Reserve speech. And you know what? I'm optimistic. Let's hear number one. Number one is he basically thinks that the job market, the hard data of the American economy, is still pretty darn good. And they're confident keeping rates as is. That's exactly what the market was expecting. That's exactly what a lot of us were expecting. So that was a good sign. He also expects that there's going to be 2 rate cuts later on this year, which is always a good sign that they're still projecting that because they think, hypothetically, that inflation will still continue to go down, and then if that happens, then they can do some rate cuts and stimulate the economy even more. And we already see that the M2 money supply is already increasing. So all good signs. There was a third thing, and he did talk about it, and it's what we've talked about in a lot of videos, is the uncertainty of the Trump tariffs. He does necessarily think that there is some inflation that is being caused by that, and they're going to try to split up what is inflation caused by the tariffs and what's inflation in other ways, if there is any. And they're going to try to calculate both separately. And he also believes that the tariff inflation is transitory, which is a good thing because basically means that it will hopefully go away with the opportunity and the optimistic perspective that the tariff situation will get figured out, which is always a good thing. And that is personally for me something that I'm optimistic about because Trump did the tariff negotiations during his last presidency and everything worked out. So I'm optimistic that people still want to do business with the United States and that we want to do business with them and that this is just a battering ram negotiating tactic that Trump uses. So I'm still very optimistic about it. So overall, the Jerome Powell meeting went pretty well. Now, granted, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. He did hint at some ideas that maybe if things got worse, they would have the ability, by holding rates steady, that they would have the ability to cut faster if necessary. Or at least that's kind of, I thought, what he was hinting at. Hopefully that doesn't necessarily have to happen. But what does this mean for crypto? All together, what does this mean for the crypto markets? Let's just see what happens because the market is completely uncertain. At least for me as a retail investor in the crypto market, I'm going to continue to dollar cost average into crypto. I definitely see that the narrative is still really strong. The macro environment is still really strong. Donald Trump, we have a Bitcoin strategic reserve and a digital asset stockpile for the United States. We've never had that before. The SEC case, an appeal was fully dropped today. The legal onslaught against crypto is going away and we see more adoption and this administration wants to create America as the crypto capital of the world. The macro narrative for crypto has never, ever been stronger. So I'm going to continue to dollar cost average. I'm going to continue to save and have cash just in case if I ever want to buy more, just in case if something did happen, maybe I'd have enough to buy the dip. Because again, the macro idea of crypto over time is still really, really strong and the environment is still really strong. So I'm optimistic. Let's see what happens and let's keep cool heads. And thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.